Welcome aboard this week's podcast of Dudes Dish Disney. Get ready for amazing attractions across America. Beer halls and bar rooms, banquets and beverages, a collection of characters and colleagues.
No cupcakes.
It's Dudes Dishing Disney. This episode of Dudes Dish Disney is sponsored by Magic Vacations. Magic Vacations. Discover the magic of travel. And now your hosts, the dudes of Dudes Dish Disney.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to this week's episode of Dudes Dish Disney. Joining us today is our producer and resident tech dude, Jonathan.
Oh, what's going on, guys?
Also joining us is our co-host, Ryan. He is known as the number one Disney dude.
What's up, dudes?
I'm Congo Carl, former Jungle Cruise skipper, here to guide you through this week's episode of Dudes Dish Disney. What's up, dudes?
What's going on?
What up?
We haven't really checked in. How you guys been?
It's been crazy, to say the least. It's been something. Life is life. I mean, let's be honest here. Work's work. I mean, we're getting back into the crazy season for myself. We're almost to the holidays and all that fun stuff. Never stops over here, unfortunately, but hey, it's life.
Yeah, you know me, traveling the world, doing my thing. I got a lot of business trips that have been happening lately, and a lot of places I've been, and a lot of places I still have yet to go. So, yeah, it's been a busy year, and my kids are getting older, Carl. Like, and I'm sure you remember this as your daughters grew up, and my kids are in so many activities right now. Softball, gymnastics, basketball, golf, right? And it's just like this constant pull all over the place. So, it's a lot of fun to take a day and spend some time and hang out with you guys and chat Disney, because it just kind of helps me reset a little bit. So, very much appreciative of the podcast right now.
Yeah. I only have 3 words for this time of year.
Uh-oh.
Oh, no.
Oktoberfest is wunderbar.
That sounds about right.
So the BIC is strong right now, is what you're telling us.
It is.
I without getting too deep into it for other people, but Carl and I have a mutual acquaintance now who used to work with Carl and now works with me. And he asked me, he said, "Hey, how's Carl doing?" And I said, "Well, I saw pictures of him drinking and eating the other day, so I think he's doing just fine."
Yeah. Yeah, I used to throw an Oktoberfest party at the company that he and I worked at, and it was our SKO, but we combined it with a big Oktoberfest feast, or as some people would say, Carl's excuse for a kegger, So,
yep.
But yeah, it's a great time of year, and right now, the parks are alive with the sound of soundtracks. A lot of attractions have wonderful soundtracks at Walt Disney World. And as a matter of fact, if you went to Google them on the web, you could hear every soundtrack for every possible attraction, and plus the sounds of every hotel, waiting area, land, garden. I mean, anywhere there's piped in music, there's music, right? But there's some attractions which are noticeably missing soundtracks. Maybe some attractions have soundtracks that need to be updated or replaced, but we thought we would kind of throw out some ideas and challenge each other. And Ryan, how are we going to do this? We're going to throw out a name of an attraction and let the other 2 folks wax poetic.
Yeah, credit to John for coming up with this idea. The idea was essentially like, hey, design the soundtrack. And sometimes we do this where we just like throw a really basic idea, and then we get together and we talk and we say, okay, how are we going to actually pull this off? Right. And so John was the brainchild behind this. But the idea is what we're going to do is each of us is going to name an attraction anywhere in Disney parks, I would say Disney World, Disneyland. And the other 2 will both come up with a new soundtrack for that song, for that ride. So that could be anything. That could be if John wants to rock out to Metallica on a certain ride, he can do that, right? But if he wants to throw in a Disney themed soundtrack, he can do that too, right? So maybe not Universal. That could be kind of weird, but otherwise, yeah, I think that's kind of the route we're rolling, and we'll just kind of rotate around until we're sick of it or we think the show starts to suck. and then we'll let it go, so it's a yeah, we'll see. And then, hey, if we have a good time with it and people listen to it and they want to shout out to us like, hey, what attraction would you put on this attraction, or what song would you put on this attraction, we can interact through social media with them that way too. So
Yes.
just have some
And
fun.
if we get too loud and Alexa starts playing soundtracks in the background, we'll know we have to kind of divert the show.
Yeah. I actually had to unplug Alexa in my office because I actually have a teammate named Alexa and a client that I talk to a lot named Alexa. And every time I tried to have the conversation, I would hear in the background, what would you like to do? Or Amazon just delivered a package. And it's like, no, shut up. I'm not talking to you. I'm not talking to you.
Thank God I don't have the Alexa in the house, but and I will say the Google that's here in the office. Thank God I have it completely turned off, because that thing would not shut up in a case like this. My son actually is obsessed with that. Not to sidetrack here too much, but he's constantly now at the age where he's constantly asking, "Hey Google, play this. Hey Google, play this. Google this. Google." It's like, all right, enough after the 10th time of the day, and that's usually by 8:30 in the morning. So let's hope that doesn't happen today with the show.
Okay. John, you want to kick us off?
Yeah, one that I was kind of tweaking in my own head a little bit with would be Big Thunder to start us off here. What would make sense?
Ooh, that's a good question.
That's a great one. I wasn't even going there in my head.
Wow, I stumped Carl for a change. That's a shock.
Oh, I've got it. I've got mine. Go ahead, Ron.
I think I've got mine too. Go ahead, Carl.
So I am going to suggest from an old movie, but it's a classic Western song. And it's actually one of Williams' first pieces for the movies. So the theme to the Magnificent Seven, which you guys will have no relation to what I'm talking about, but it's
I actually know that. I've got that in my head now.
Yeah, Williams is the conductor. It was, I think, one of the first movies he ever did a score for, a musical score. But it's that Western theme with the riding and everything, and it's also used in the movie The Cowboys, which he did too, that theme music for. So I'm going to say, the theme from The Cowboys or the Magnificent Seven rides.
How am I not surprised Carl's gone old school with this reference? This was not exactly where I expected, but I kind of had a feeling that Carl was going to go something that was predating most of us and most of our
exhilarating. It's fast paced. It's it matches the ride. There's parts of it that are kind of slow going uphill, and you could, that great orchestral score of going through that desert, going through that mine, splashing down, all of that great stuff. I never thought about that until you just mentioned it and brought it up, but it just hit me when So Ryan's got something more contemporary that we'll all understand.
Less contemporary than you think. Although I do think it's funny that John's like, I kind of thought Carl might go that way. Like, is this your first time listening to the show? I'm just curious. But this one, it might be a little off, right? But that was the first thing that came to mind. And when I think of a mine train, I think of that whistle blowing, right? And that train coming around the bend. So the first thing that came to mind was Folsom County Blues by Johnny Cash.
Okay,
and,
all right, I can see that. I'm a little surprised you've gone that route, but I can see that.
I'm not into a lot of country. Certainly not old country western. I'm more into the more modern country pop. Like if I like country, it's usually Garth Brooksy kind of country. But I am a big fan of Johnny Cash. So there's actually, John, you might appreciate this, but Everlast did a retweak of that song, and it is actually my son Dylan's favorite song. So if I would stick with the original, because you got to have the Western feel to this and not like the more modern metal kind of version
Absolutely,
of it.
yeah.
But yeah, that's where I would go with it. I think that would be a lot of fun, even if it was just in the car as you're going up the lift, and then after you get up the lift, they drop the music. I think it would be a lot of fun.
I can see that.
John, I'm curious though, because we did say the other two guys would comment, but I'm curious if you had a song in mind, because you said that's not where you were thinking with it.
So I was thinking, again, being someone rock, I was thinking more that, and now I'm kind of rethinking a little bit. I don't know how it would work, but for some reason my first thought when I came into that was a song, Wanted, Dead or Alive, kind of Bon Jovi stuck in my head a little bit. I don't know how it would completely fit into there, but that song kind of fits that a little bit. Again, it doesn't fit it completely, but I'm like, okay, I could see that in parts of that working well, and it's kind of the slower parts in a little bit. But I kind of like that, and I don't know, that one kind of, I don't know, I'm still kind of feeling Carl's now that I keep hearing it. As sad as that is, that kind of works really well there.
I'm surprised at your depth of music, John. I'm not going to lie to you. I thought you were like Mr. Metal all the time. So
no, he's not.
No, I'm really not. I mean, that's what I prefer to listen to, but I unfortunately,
Ryan, remember, John's been to Bandcamp.
So. That's true. He has been. There was that one time in Bandcamp.
We don't talk about that. All right.
I don't know, but either way, I mean, John, I'm surprised by it. I'm surprised you didn't have a Godsmack song waiting in the wait.
That's too heavy for that. It doesn't work.
The fact that you said something was too heavy for something is shocking to me.
Hey, I'm slightly turning my head a little bit to a lot of things that make sense, but I don't know. I'm still not opposed to it, but I just can't find one that makes sense yet.
Okay, Ryan.
Let's see if I can give you boys a challenge. If we were to add a song, let's replace an earworm. What are we gonna do in Small World for a new soundtrack? This is a podcast and not a YouTube, although this could wind up in YouTube. I want to take everybody's I want to show everybody's Carl's face when I said that. It was a mix between you MFer and what are you doing right now? It was a really classic face.
Well, it's a controversial one, right? Because it's so iconic, and how can you ever change that? And we all know how you can change it. You can change it with much happiness, getting that out of your ear. The first thing that came to me, charity song, "We Are the World."
Dude, I had the same song in mind. So worse for sure, but that's exactly where my brain was.
Yeah. Oh God, I wasn't even thinking along those lines. I was trying to be nice to people in my thought, but geez, come on, man.
You need to change some of the Small World dolls to look like Bruce Springsteen and Michael Jackson.
But you could theme the Disney World one like they do in Disneyland, but instead of having like Woody in there, you could have Bruce Springsteen in there. You know what I mean? Like,
but that song is even to me more annoying than "It's a Small World."
Annoying but iconic, right? And if you're going to replace an iconic song, you've got to replace it with an iconic song. And I don't know if you guys saw the documentary about that song and everything they put into that song.
Famous. Yeah.
And that documentary was phenomenal. I'd never seen I didn't know that they were up until 6 o'clock in the morning.
Oh yeah.
You know, I was too young when that was happening. I remembered the song and I knew all the artists, but I was too young to really grasp what they were trying to accomplish and what they did. And I thought the
it was quite the collaboration at the time. It was the first of its kind, right, when that came out. And then subsequently, other charities did similar things, right?
Yeah.
But not to that level. And the video on that, if you ever watch the music video,
Yeah.
is just all of these famous folks.
And could you imagine even trying today to get that many egos in check for one
Oh,
night?
God, it would never happen.
Like, no chance in hell.
Well,
No
first
chance.
of all, you'd have to get half of those people out of jail.
That's true. That is true. I mean, and maybe 3/4 of them soon. Thanks,
Right.
Gabe. Right? But yeah. Oh,
Yeah,
wow.
so that's-
We're going down a rabbit hole.
Right. So that's the one that came to mind. I mean, I was as we were talking about it, I was trying to think of a second one, but I nothing else comes to me. John, what would you do?
So I was thinking in a different way with this one, as it's an earworm and it annoys the heck out of people with such a popular ride and all the different cultures. Why not picking like top 40 songs from each country to kind of be like on a rotating cycle? Like no single song directly, but each country involved. They say, hey, from September here, this is your popular song here. We're playing this. It's going to be a little behind, but I think that would be a way that might work a little bit better and kind of really kind of help with the culture and kind of show that too, and not be as painful as an earworm. I think you would get more people interested and see, oh, what's the song of the couple months for, I don't know, Africa, India, whatever, et cetera, and kind of go from that. I mean, especially with Disney having all the rights to all the songs. I mean, I feel like Disney could easily do something like that to change that.
I'm just thinking of like, just because my brain, I go by the Ireland portion of that. And I'm like, what do you put there? Is that Sinead O'Connor? Is that U2? Or is that the Dropkick Murphys? Right? like what are you putting into that section there? But yeah, I mean, it could be cool to see like local flavors, right? I feel like that's something that belongs in Epcot, right?
I agree, and that's why I kind of was playing with that a little bit. I was like, does this make sense? But I'm like, it really does, because it's got all the culture of all the different countries right there. So
I just don't see Soit Pas Timide from Jim's in France being like played the whole month.
No.
Interesting. I don't yet. I mean, when you first started talking about it, John, I was thinking, well, that was the original concept. Was Walt was going to have everyone sing their own national anthem as he went through the countries. But when they set up the mock stage of it, it was such there was no incoherency in the attraction, and they canned the idea. It said we can't have everyone's national anthem. It doesn't blend well from one to the other, and that's when they, tapped the two brothers to come up with a song, right? Which really tied into UNICEF and everything. So I thought that's kind of where you were going from, is but having one song throughout the whole attraction and then changing every month, that's a very different approach.
All right, well, Carl, it's your turn to come
All right,
up
I'm gonna get it out of the way for you guys. You knew it was coming. So put a soundtrack to the Jungle Cruise.
John, I'm letting you go first. I'm calling non-dibs on this one.
Oh, this is a hard one. I got to think on this one here. Man, I should have been expecting this one, but I'm not.
What about the song where like, I'm on a boat?
I mean, that would be great, but I don't see that playing well in Disney.
It is a tough one.
I thought for sure I knew what John was going to pick, but
what do you think I was going
for? I
for?
think I have the one that Carl thinks you're going to pick actually in my mind. So
all right, go for it.
I'm going to go for it, and I'm going to go with "Welcome to the Jungle" by
Guns that's what I thought. Yeah,
I wasn't thinking that did not paint in my mind. I'm still trying to think of what I want, but that's a good one.
Only if the Jungle Cruise skipper on the boat dances and does the little axle road back and forth thing with the microphone. That's what I want. And then you got to have Slash in the back actually hammering on the guitar. That's what I'm at.
I would just want to see Carl come out with come out and do that get up. I mean, he'd break a hip, but that's a different story.
I do not want to see Carl do this. I'm not going to lie to you. That is not.
You don't want to see it.
No, not on my bucket list. I'm surprised you didn't come up with a sweet 80s metal ballad like that, John.
I'm a little disappointed I didn't come up with that. I'm still struggling here to think, and this is bad.
Yeah, you're the music guy.
I know, man.
What about is there a Disney soundtrack you could throw in there, John?
Several.
Yeah, though there's a bunch. I mean, I could see it rethemed to kind of a Jungle Book, but I don't know if that. I don't know how I feel about that.
It's another earworm. That whole song,
Yeah.
Earworm.
So the song that I used to sing into the microphone in PA as I pulled up the boat to the dock to where the people were at night, when you had the night, was the 1961 "The Lion Sleeps Tonight," and the guys on the dock used to do the Wimboe, and I would do the high pitched falsetto song coming up, and the people just loved it. And the leads would tell us, stop doing that. But it was just too funny not to do. So that, that's the one that, I don't know if that it was appropriate there. I don't think yet, but yeah, you do Disney ones. You can do, you certainly could do any of the music from The Lion King. Right. I mean,
Yeah.
on there, which would be appropriate. As a matter of fact, Tokyo Disneyland, when you come to the African Veldt and that Jungle Cruise, they play The Lion King, Circle of Life. And it's so weird because it's the music plays, like, where's that music coming from? The jungle. It's the only part of the ride where music plays, but they actually do it. They blast it out. And you see this, the rock formation with the lions there and everything, all the animals gathered, just like the opening scene in The Lion King. So they do that. I really thought that, John, I thought you'd go with Bungle in the Jungle.
No, so I've got one that would work for part of the ride. That may be a little bit of a surprise. It would work. It's not going to work in all of it, but Come Sail Away would be a great one. To
David Gray?
Yeah.
Sitting on the dock of the bay could be another one.
Yeah.
Africa is another one.
Africa would be good, actually.
That could be the earworm. That really could be the earworm.
Yeah. Okay, so all right, we got some of the big three in the Magic Kingdom out of the way.
Should we
Ryan,
skip to another part?
At another place, or it could be this
Yeah,
park
I
or
say
another park?
let's head over to one of the other parks here.
Have at it, Haas.
Let's see. Let's do one for heading over to Animal Kingdom here for Everest. See if we can think of one for this one, which may be a little challenging based on what that ride theming and everything is.
This is an opportunity, I think, to go a little heavier. I
agree.
Like, you could just totally get away from anything that makes sense with it being a mountain and just do, like, I don't know, like Metallica Ride the Lightning could be a lot of fun to just have blasting in your ears as you shoot backwards and then scream down the hill, right?
Oh, that could be a lot of fun. That could be a real lot of fun going through that little bit.
It doesn't really make sense with going up the hill, though. Like, if you were to do a Metallica song, you would almost need, like, Metallica 1, right? So that when you're going up the incline, it's like the helicopter going above you, and then when you get to the top, then it kicks into the song. But
I mean, there's a couple bits that may work there, but it wouldn't, like you said, it wouldn't work for the full bit, but I could see a little bit of it.
yeah. I'm just trying to think. Country Roads by John Denver could be fun.
That could be That could be something. That's for sure.
Mountain
God.
Mama. Oh, good.
I'm just throwing random crap out now to see if we could go. Rocky Mountain High.
That would be a little bit better, but
Yeah. Somebody somewhere is listening to this right now, screaming an answer.
Oh,
Right.
I'm sure. There's got to be a couple of them at this point. I can see Hell's Bells working a little bit in some of it.
Yeah. See, there we go.
Oh, or Stairway to Heaven may work too.
Stairway's overused.
It is overused. I mean, it's not my first choice, but I was looking at some songs and I'm like, oh, that may work.
let's see. I've got one, and I don't know if you get the reference, but Sister Sister,
Yeah.
Yeah, I could see that.
because it's a legend of Yeti Gonzalez.
Oh.
That's
This
all I
is-
got. I don't know. I would have to. I think we have to consult our favorite Imagineer roadies to get his approval on something.
Trying to get
Either that, if he ever listens to this, he's screaming in anger at our ideas.
Oh yeah, if he was listening to us, which he's not, but if he was, I mean, he's not. All the other Imagineers do, which is why we're getting all of our favorite bars coming out soon.
That's right.
Yeah. For those who don't listen to us all the time, just so you know, we take credit for the Pirates theme bar. We take credit for the Haunted Mansion theme bar. We take credit for all of that. Even
That's
the Star Wars, theme bars on the Wish. We're taking credit for all of it.
And the Jungle Cruise bar on the absolutely.
Yes, sir.
Mhm.
Okay, so Ryan, why don't you pick an attraction? We'll take a better stab at it than we did without Mount Everest. Was a epic failure.
Yeah, Mount Everest was a rough one, which means stay away from the rest of the mountains, guys. Nobody wants to answer.
It worked great with Big Thunder, but it's not, Yeah.
Yeah, we burned it all up on Big Thunder. We have nothing left for the rest of the mountains. Let's go Haunted Mansion, and I know this is another iconic one that's getting replaced, but what could you do to enhance or change Haunted Mansion with a new soundtrack? Somewhere someone just cried because I brought that.
Yeah.
Way to break some hearts.
I'm pretty sure her name was Casey.
And Casey wept. Well, I'm thinking of more like an orchestral score, and if we wanted to kind of do something that was quasi Disney related, we could go to Fantasia and look at Night on Bald Mountain, right? Kind of spooky, scary.
Yep.
Mhm.
Almost terrifying when you're a little kid watching that. But thinking about those lines, because I don't know if the lyrics. I think we said this on one of the episodes. The lyrics to Grim Grinning Ghost and that music is played through the entire attraction from beginning to start in 13 different formats. It's the same music. You think you're listening to different, but it's the same tune. From the invisible guy on the piano playing the music to to the entrance when you're entering the stretching room, all of that is variations on that same piece of music. So that's again another piece of perfection. I think more so than Small World, because of what's done with it. But I want to pick something, very dramatic and thematic for that, and it still wouldn't be as good as what they have. I don't think there's any fixing perfection, but
There's no fixing the song, right? There's definitely there's no chance any one of us are coming up with a song that would be better.
right.
Right.
No.
Rethinking it, right? Like what would it feel like with X song? But I agree, Carl. I like your idea. It almost needs to be a score for sure. I have a totally different idea in mind, but I'll wait for John because John might get to it before I do.
See, I'm thinking too heavy in sense of like not so much Disney, but I'm thinking like the horror movies like Halloween, stuff like that. But the problem with that is it wouldn't work because it's not owned by Disney. That's all across down the way, Universal. So that's the problem.
Fun.
But I think that would be a way to really amp that up and bring in those soundtracks like that, bring in a score with all that.
You really want to mess with somebody, throw the Ghostbusters theme out.
Oh, that would be hysterical if you go into the graveyard, just hear that.
Bobby Pickett singing the Monster Mash.
See, that was the thought process in my head originally. I'm like, no, that's too cheesy to bring that in. That does not work.
So I was hoping John would go heavy with like something like "Living Dead Girl" by Rob Zombie, right? Because it ties in the bride and the ghost of the bride throughout. But I'm not gonna lie, as we're talking about this, I googled like, all right, what's some scary music I might be able to consider here? And as I'm going through the songs, I saw, I love that it's listed as scary music, was "Tiptoe Through the Tulips" by Tiny Tim. Could you imagine getting down and like you go down to where the graves are and you come around the corner and there's Tiny Tim?
That would be scary.
Instead of in Disneyland, instead of the Hatbox Ghost, you got Tiny Tim sitting there with his ukulele.
Oh God!
All right. Anyway, good show, guys. All right. If you came here for absolute nonsense, this is the show for you.
Oh, let's see. How about we go over to Epcot and we put a musical score to Spaceship Earth.
I kind of want to say one, but I'm going to hold it and hope that Carl says it. Trying to think of something that makes sense for space, right? Like going to outer space, because like and I'm not really. You do Rocket Man.
I was just looking through songs. That one is definitely one that may work.
Or Starman.
Yeah.
Right. Those are some classics that I think a lot of people would really enjoy as you're taking up. It makes no sense whatsoever with the theming, but that's fine.
Intergalactic.
There you go. That's what I'm talking about. That's the John I know and love right there. Intergalactic would be a lot of fun just listening to it as you go. There's actually a lot of really good songs that would fit for space, some sort of space kind of theming. I like Beastie Boys, though. I like Intergalactic. That would be a lot of fun.
That could be a lot of fun. I mean, there's a couple scenes I think that would really be fun when you're coming backwards down, playing that, and just if they really tweaked the lights and it was not as boring, I think that may work.
Or speed it up on the way up, one of the two.
Oh yeah. Oh, that could be
like Vomit Central being sped up on that ride. Talking to the Moon, Bruno Mars.
I can see it.
Carl, you got anything?
For some reason, I was going orchestral score. I'm like, no, you need lyrics to this. And I was thinking about a particular famous band that had some music, but some of their stuff is kind of downer. So I wanted to get up, and I keep coming back to the Beatles, Obladi Oblada.
I like it. I like it.
Life goes on,
Fun. Yeah, just because it's fun.
right? People be clapping and singing to that, right?
I was hoping you were going to go Frank Sinatra, "Fly Me to the Moon." I'm not going to lie.
No.
thought
I
that
was
was
thinking.
right
I mean,
down
that's more you than anything.
No, I was thinking, more uplifting than, and I just think of the lines of that music, and then when you started saying some of the other stuff, I'm saying, oh, will Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds work? Maybe not.
Yeah.
All right, let's get an attraction where we can like really chomp on a good song here, right? Instead of trying to trip each other up. What's a good attraction where we could actually come up with like a really good song? How about Tower of Terror?
I was just going to say that.
I've got one in mind already, so I'll let you guys go because I brought it up, so I didn't want to bring it up and then bring up the song that I had in mind for it right away.
I know what John should be.
What are you thinking? I'm still trying to find one here. So.
It's a song by Carolyn Kostler. I myself.
Ah!
I done peed my pants. John, this should be a good one for you because you could like just, the theme is horror and it's an elevator shaft that drops. I mean, you could use a lot of stuff here.
That's the problem. There's a lot coming through my head, and I'm trying to think of something very heavy for this one. My gut tells me I'm sneaking over to some real heavy stuff that might scare some people here. Going Slipknot for this one.
Ooh.
I could see Duality working here, especially on the drop. Snuff could work as well for them.
I'm very curious how many people are not going to have a clue.
There's going to be a lot.
People are like, what is this guy listening to?
Right.
There's probably a lot that get it, but
John, before you add any more, I had one that came to mind. Van Halen's Jump.
Okay, I could see that.
I'm a big fan. I liked Van Halen in the 90s.
Right. So I thought that would be a fun one. I could hear that music going down because it's, you're bouncing up and down, right? That repetitive motion. I also thought it would be fun is on the way up, instead of having all the Twilight Zone, Tara, have old-fashioned classic elevator music.
That could
going
be fun.
Up, all the old tin canny music going up, and then Van Halen on the way down.
That could be fun. So I've got another one. I don't know. Probably neither of you guys have heard it. It's by a band called Ice Nine Kills. I know.
Oh no, everyone knows Ice Nine Kills.
Yeah, they're not super popular or getting there, but they have a song called The American Nightmare that could actually fit the theme very well. It kind of talks about like the different horror stories and all the characters like Jason, if all those guys within the song. So that something may work, especially with Tower of Terror. It's kind of fits that theme, but it's not completely the same. It's more scary. And the drop, I mean, there's a drop in that song that's pretty heavy that would fit really well in that. So
Ryan, you've got a smirk. You're thinking of something.
So I would the first song that was in my head when I said this, because anything horror can relate back to one artist, which would be Rob Zombie. And to me, Thunder Kiss 65 could be fantastic as background music as this is going on.
That would be the one.
If you haven't heard it, if you're not a metal fan and you don't know White Zombie, Rob Zombie, just give it a spin on your Apple Music playlist real quick and see if it wouldn't make sense there. But that is right away where my head went, was that jam.
I can't wait to run out and play that.
You're going to get a headache afterwards.
Yeah, Carl, next time you're sitting in traffic on the highway, just play that and you'll feel a little bit better.
You'll also want to shoot the person in the car next to you.
Hey, I live in Boston. We want to do that anyways.
I was about to say that's an everyday commute down 93 or 495.
Yeah, we got 94 and 294 where we do the same thing, except that here in Chicago, we actually do shoot people in the next car next to us. So,
well, I think we've exposed our love of music.
or lack thereof. There's a lot of people who either went, these guys just had a lot of fun with this show, or a lot of people who went, I don't know what these guys talked about at all. Right? Like, wow.
And who knows? This could be our most watched episode ever. So, think about it. Think about that perfect song for that perfect attraction, and hit us up on social media on what you would do to change Disney World soundtracks. And until you do, we're going to be listening to John's playlist all next week.
Well, we're officially introducing White Zombie into Disneyland. Let's go.
Later, dudes.
Later, dudes.
Thanks for joining us for this week's episode of Dudes Dish Disney. Please check us out on social media. On Facebook at Dudes Dish Disney. On Instagram at Dudes Dish Disney. On X at Disney_Dish. Please check us out on YouTube. Like and subscribe at Dudes Dish Disney. Please visit our sponsor, Magic Vacations, at magicvacations.net. More than just a travel agency, Magic Vacations has over 60 Magic Vacation planners committed to bringing you white glove concierge service. Using a Magic Vacation planner allows you to spend more time making memories and less time worrying about the details. For all of your Disney, Universal, cruise, and global travel, go to magicvacations.net. Magic Vacations. Discover the magic of travel.